Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Dudes Watch a Movie podcast. We are on episode 10. We have made it to double digits. Look out. This week, we are doing DOA to wrap up our month of video game movies. I am your host, the Notorious GING, and with me, as always, is
DeadSprock3t.
Join us as we discuss this fantastic movie.
I will say it is fantastic compared to the last movie we watched.
Yes, because, oh my god, I'm still mad about Blood Rain.
Sorry.
I actually, my very first note is 2 minutes in, already better than Blood Rain.
My first note was 2 minutes in. I feel like I'm watching Triple X.
Yes, the big shot that where it comes up the mountain and then goes into...
Or even the openings to a lot of the Fast and Furious movies, actually.
Yeah.
The recent ones, I suppose.
Really any Vin Diesel movie.
Good point.
And actually, it reminded me of, and it's something that I might come back to over and over this episode, but the camera work is super video game. Like, that's the kind of big opening sweeping shot you would see in a video game, especially back then. True. They had to CGI it, obviously. That's like not a real camera making that movement. I don't know. It kind of was a bit weird at first, but I got used to it after a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if you've had played the games, maybe there was some sort of correlation to that. I don't know. I've never actually played any DOA games. I don't know if they do like swooping entrances in their start of their games.
Not necessarily just DOA, but games from like the mid 2000s in general.
I suppose, yeah.
Especially ones from overseas. Like I was thinking like Resident Evil and things like that.
Capcom games.
Or even, it reminded me of some of the camera work from Stay Alive. You ever see that movie? Where they go in the video game and if you die there, you die in real life?
I've heard of it, but I never actually watched it.
Ooh, we will watch that sometime.
This is perfect.
They do a lot of that weird like CGI swooping through things.
I saw Doom, but I don't know if that really counts.
That's different. That's first person.
Yeah.
FPS.
Frames per second.
What were some of your, just as it was opening, what were some of your thoughts? How were you thinking that movie was going to go?
Well, given that it's a fighting movie based on a video game, I was kind of expecting more or less something kind of like Mortal Kombat style, but I know it was newer and therefore it's going to be a little bit more, I say high-techy, but maybe a little bit more thought out. Mm-hmm. Not only that, but I guess I don't want to go too far into the entrance, but the setup of the characters in that whole beginning sequence was actually pretty neat. I could already tell there was a budget used on this film.
Yep.
100%.
And I'm pretty sure they probably did not make that back.
No. Sadly.
The thing that catches me at the beginning is that, man, the dialogue of those actors and actress is not good.
At the temple?
Yeah.
It seemed like one of those settings where one person would talk, the camera would be on them, and then the next person starts talking, the camera's already on them as well. There isn't that kind of transition where the other would start talking, and then we go look, to see who it is.
It was very...
Read your line, cut, read your line.
Yes. And it persists throughout the movie, especially with those two characters, who was Hayabusa and Katsumi. I don't know that it's the actor and actress's fault. I think it's just the way the dialogue was written. Was they were trying to make them too stereotypically Japanese. Like they were short with what they were saying. There wasn't a whole lot of emotion to it, and they weren't speaking naturally. Like the English was not natural.
I almost for a second there felt like it was... And maybe it was because of how we were watching it, but the lip sync wasn't. It almost felt like it wasn't complete with what they were saying, and so I was like, "Is this a thing they're going for?" But that's their lips are moving.
That would have been so good if it would have been badly dubbed. It's the last thing it needs. This movie's so much fun. They just need that to push it over the edge. Oh my god!
You could watch it in Japanese, and then you could hear. We wouldn't understand it, but we'd see the differences.
You don't need to watch this in English to understand what's happening.
It's true, you really don't.
Because even with it in English, you still don't really understand what's happening half the time.
It's true, you don't.
There's not really it doesn't make sense why he invited them there. He's like, I'm going to invite them so that I can put these nanobites in their body, so he can download their fighting style into a simulation goggle so he can see their move, and then sell it to nerds on the internet.
I don't like the idea of simulation goggles. Like,
and goggles is not even the right word. They're super cool sunglasses. Oh yeah.
It could have been better executed, honestly.
And I feel like didn't you call that one halfway through?
Oh yeah, I was saying something like, if they're gonna fill them up with nano machines, they're gonna collect data, and then what's gonna happen? We're gonna have one big super fighter. Is that what I thought they were gonna do? Not take it and sell it, which seems even more, I don't know, cheesy.
Yes, it seems.
Not only that, but the people they were selling it to. You just see the little webcam things on the side.
I feel like those were probably just fans of the video game that won some contest to appear in the movie, and that was their role.
It looks like those creepos you see that are playing live poker on the internet.
Yes, they did. I would like to say that this might be the most video game movie based on video games that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, from the weird plot to the camera angles to the way they replicated things. If you've played DOA, the way things work out there, I think they were actually super faithful to the way it pans out, for better or worse.
Yeah, I mean, I think with it being a fighting game, you can kind of get away with that, especially, like, I liked how they were doing the fights, and then on screen they even gave them health bars, and, like, the KOs, and just, how do you determine someone's health bar? But, you know, whatever, I guess the nano machines figure it out for
and
you.
they were healing them, I think. I couldn't quite figure that out if they were just reading data or if they were healing them, honestly. And speaking of the fights, because I mean it's based on a fighting game, there's a lot of fight scenes. I think they actually did a really good job. There's nothing particularly mind-blowing where you haven't ever seen anything like that before. There's a lot of like Crouching Tiger style wire work where they're breaking the laws of physics and things like that. But there's a handful of fights in this movie, 1v1 fights. None of them are similar. They all have a different feel. Like there's one where they're fighting on the raft. There's one where they're fighting in a bedroom. There's one where they're fighting in the rain down on like the beach, on the steps, all sorts of different places. And every fight seems to take a different style or path, which I thought was really well done. Because they could have easily just been like, let's do the same thing, and then after the second or third one, to get real tiring.
Or, you know, maybe pull a Tommy Wiseau and just recut the shots just with somebody else in it. You know,
would have still liked it.
I will admit, though, one of the things I thought was kind of funny is, I wouldn't say product placement, but in the opening scene with Jamie Presley, I think her name was, she had some vitamin water sitting out. However, she had the vitamin water, but the Pabst Blue Ribbon she was drinking was just a vague can with a blue sticker on it.
They CGI'd it out.
So I was just, Speaking CGI, might I say what drives me completely insane is these movies that take this effect and kind of like cloud the glasses drives me nuts. It's so blatantly obvious every time you see it because no sunglasses have that
matte
sort of
finish.
Finish. And I mean, when some movies just have the reflections, like it doesn't even matter. You can't see what's recording them because they're doing it at an angle anyway. But
usually when you see that, it's because they didn't think it through when they were recording it, or they didn't know how to get the camera out of the reflection. So they're like, fuck it, let's just glare it up.
I suppose.
Speaking of Jamie Presley, there are quite a few people in this movie that I don't know how they ended up in this movie. Especially at the time, 2006, I believe.
The only famous one I know is Jamie Presley, honestly.
So she was in, right?
Yeah.
Weatherby was in Reba. And also he's now in another show that I can't remember now, but that's where I've seen him from. Katsumi is, I believe her name is Suki in Fast and Furious 2, the worst of all the Fast and Furious.
That's why she seems so familiar.
Main bad guy is Eric Roberts, who is, now I'm blanking on her name, not Jessica Roberts. Is it Jessica Roberts? Really famous actress. She was Tinkerbell and Peter Pan.
Peter Pan?
And Hook. Little Hook with Rob Williams.
Okay.
Julia Roberts, thank you. You're so much help.
I'm terrible with names.
And honestly, my personal favorite, Jessica. Fuck, now I'm all messed up.
She's your favorite. I just know her name.
No, your lady. What was her name again? Help me out. Presley.
Jamie Presley.
Jamie Presley's dad is played by Kevin fucking Nash. Big sexy himself, Diesel.
Oh, Jesus.
I just like that they got a wrestler to play the wrestler character from the game. Helps warm my
I thought
heart.
you were saying something about that. I must not heard you correctly, but I thought you said it would have been better had they got a wrestler to play the wrestler person.
I was saying it would have been better if they would have got Hulk Hogan.
Oh,
Because it would have been worse.
it would have pulled the wig off so much better.
Right? That's who they based him off of. I swear to God, if you play those games, it looks like it's supposed to be Hulk Hogan with the bandana and the blonde hair and the like weird dyed beard.
He would have made that movie plummet.
Brother.
There wasn't enough dudes in the movie to say that.
There's always enough when Hulk Hogan's around. Though. He'll call anyone brother. He doesn't care. And I think part of the reason why I would have liked him in there is this movie is just full on cheese.
Oh God, yes.
And it knows it. It's purposely like, let's be tongue in cheek, let's have fun. Whereas Blood Rain, they were like, let's be super serious and we're gonna be cool. We're gonna wear leather and we're gonna like have quippy one-liners that don't work. Whereas in this one, when they do a one-liner, you're on the same page, so it's hilarious.
It's true. It's true.
And not just the one-liners. They use sound effects for gags as well.
Man.
Yeah, please tell them about the best sound effect in the movie.
When Mr. Military looking dude comes out and takes his arms, brings him down, shotgun cocks. I'm just like, ooh, why?
It's the best use of sound effect in any movie ever. It's the only thing better is the Wilhelm scream. It's the only thing better.
True. No, I felt the entire movie was like one big Mountain Dew commercial. Honestly, they try to make. I had one extreme thing after another. We've got jumping on swords. Mm-hmm. We've got motorcycles, planes, plane jumping, rock climbing, fruit boots, rollerblades.
Rollerblades, yeah. Which this might be the last movie to ever try and use rollerblades to make someone look cool.
True. All the glass it's breaking, all the money's breaking into vaults, parkour, sunglasses, self-destruction sequences, explosions, more skydiving. It's just one extreme thing after another. Like,
can you see why I like this movie in middle school / early high school so much?
Kind of wish I would have seen it then.
We're talking about, you saw it now. It's still good. It's still good.
Might have felt a little bit more enthralled.
Another big thing that adolescent me really liked was a lot of girls in this movie. And it's that PG-13 skin where it's just like, oh, almost.
Not quite.
Let me give you this volleyball scene though, which again is perfect representation of the game. Perfect. But
unnecessary, but put in.
There are things about it now that I'm looking back and like, oh, Zach, that's weird. You're a creep. You're just really going hard on trying to get Jamie Presley to like you.
I will say though, what's his face? The nerdy dude.
Weatherby?
Yes, Weatherby.
Wallaby?
Yeah, Wallaby. I put in here he's about as creepy as Danny from The Room.
Yeah.
He's got that real creep vibe.
He's just watching.
Yeah.
And being a real creep. But unlike Zach, he ends up kind of winning her over. Zach, though, to be fair to him, got his ass kicked and was like, okay, I'll leave you alone.
He's the token funny black guy in the movie, and that part kind of irritated me. Like, okay, I suppose if you're trying to fit... I mean...
It's almost annoying, isn't it?
I guess on the defense...
Not Chris Rock. Fuck, I'm off today. Chris Tucker.
Yep, there you go. But I guess in the defense, as I was saying, they are portraying video game characters that have a weird... I don't say dialogue, but they're just not normal people.
They're caricatures for sure.
Yes, caricatures.
Yeah. And part of them being caricatures, and it's not just them, but the whole thing in general. Do you remember the game Dark Dreams Don't Die? And like it's
vaguely,
weird.
yes.
It's a weird sense of humor.
I watched you play it, but I myself only got so far. But yeah,
that's kind of the vibe I was getting. It's just that weird, like Japanese, like almost anime style humor. Like some of the shots and the reactions, the pirates, like when they're coming and the guy pulls up the gun like he's gonna shoot, and he just bashes him in the elbow, and they've got the camera way up next to him.
Almost slapsticky.
Yeah, it gives me that kind of vibe. And those poor pirates could not catch a break.
Nope. Even comes rolling up with his little arm splint on. That was great.
He's got to hang it up there. Yeah. Oh, it was so good.
Can we talk about how the music sounded like it was straight out of the Matrix?
Yes, it is.
Every single song, that's all I could think of the whole time. It's like I'm waiting for some slow-mo fights, some gunfights. Granted, there was no
jump
guns,
in the air and rotate camera.
Yeah.
The thing that initially halfway through that movie was starting to bother me was that wire work we talked about earlier, where she's like running over the people and they're flying up the statue trying to get to the compound. But then I started thinking more and more, and it brings me back to how this is the most accurate representation of a game in a movie of all time that I've seen. Because did you ever play DOA 4?
I've never played any of the games, honestly.
So Hayabusa from Ninja Gaiden is kind of famous for a really hard combo that he does in there, where he'll do a bunch of moves and then he shoots someone up in the sky, then he teleports up there, grabs them by the waist, flips them upside down and like helicopters down and drives their head into the ground. So clearly in the game, gravity also doesn't exist. Physics are just a guideline.
But they work on the boobs.
They do. They have the jiggle physics. Jesus. Kind of the last tie-in that I noticed to Blood Rain, the ending, the very, very ending after they've resolved everything and they've...
Oh, they have that little tidbit with the closing...
Yep, the little teaser cliffhanger, like, oh, this is going to be cool, and credits. It's a weird one.
One thing I thought was kind of funny, complete opposites of Blood Rain. Blood Rain's blood and gore. Mm-hmm. This one, these swords don't cut. They seem to emit blasts of wind and blow people away. Or you slice their stomach and they jump away.
Pure force.
So,
this movie was not directed by Paul Anderson, but it was produced by him. And he's kind of... With Blood Rain, it was by Uwe Boll. And Paul Anderson is kind of the other person who's really known for doing video game stuff. So he did the Mortal Kombat movies.
Explains a lot.
And he did the Resident Evil series. So it's kind of... It's a weird look at the two different ways you can go about it. So one, you can be complete trash in a bad way. And then when you can be complete trash in the best way.
Because you're not taking yourself seriously.
Yeah. And I think that ultimately is the key to a video game movie. They try and take them too seriously, like Assassin's Creed was boring because they took it too seriously.
Never saw it.
We watched it. I think we both fell asleep because it sucked.
No. Yeah.
But though, when I think of video game movies I like, most of the time they're by him. And most of the time they're that right kind of cheese where Resident Evil strays a little bit too much, where he tries to get too serious and he tries to make her badass, but it also might be just that I don't like Mila Jovovich. Just a thought. I think that is something someone should try and put in. I think almost the perfect candidate for something like that would be Sunset Overdrive. If they could make a movie like that, I think it would be visually interesting seeing people skate around. That would be the hard part, those explaining the physics and stuff, but that kind of movie lends itself to that style of humor, not being super serious the whole time.
I mean, Wanted, that movie, was that made by... No? Okay. Because I know that had a couple... And granted, it was off of a comic book, but there was a couple campy things in there, silly things that were in there. But anyway, it's funny that you did mention that he made the Resident Evil movies, because the entire time I was watching it, for some reason, I just had a Resident Evil vibe. And I want to say it was the sunglasses, because I was just imagining the dude
Wesker?
For some reason, the whole entire time. Maybe that and the whole underground, like, vault layer type thing was really setting it up. But I was actually having, this feels like it should be a Resident Evil type thing. But
I guess something we haven't fully gone through was what the actual plot was, other than he was trying to replicate their emotions. Because there are other subplots going on. So you got Christy and Max are trying to steal $10 million that's just in the vault somewhere on the island, because why the fuck not?
Wrapped in bags. Like, you're preserving the cash for what?
And then you've got Hayabusa, and
that's what I wrote here. Is like, why is the entire story focused on the princess? Like, and so the servant no longer wants. Like, she wants to go kill her. But then they find
Hayate wants to kill.
No.
Yeah, Hayate wants to. No, Hayate.
Find her brother, and then immediately she just doesn't want to kill her anymore, and I just thought that was kind of weird.
That's one of those ones where it just stopped making a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because Katsumi's brother, Hayate, is the one that was kidnapped from the previous year's DOA because he was the winner.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I feel like this movie should have... Like, it felt like it was a sequel to what should have been like backstories or something, because it was just too quickly put together, I guess.
Again, though, super video game. The first 5 minutes, let's do a complete backstory of how we got here and not just actually show it. But in this one, they're like, let's flip that around. Let's flip that. Let's just show an interval throughout the movie.
Makes sense. But at the same time, just almost feels unnecessary.
A little bit. A little smidge.
Just some characters that I wish they would have had more of the story towards. Like, what was black dude, green spiky man?
Zach.
What's his deal? And then the one ancient fighter looking guy with the long beard and
he is actually a drunken boxer.
See, that's what I'm saying. Stuff I guess I should have played the games. Maybe then I would have had a backstory for these characters.
Nope.
But
I have no idea what their backstories are. I just know what their fighting styles are. Similar to the first person that what's her name that Weatherby likes with the H? Helena? First person she fights was my favorite guy in the game.
Leon?
No. She fights the Bruce Lee knockoff character that has to be in every fighting game. He's got a little turnaround reverse elbow move. It's fantastic. Then you had the assassin that Eric Roberts hired to kill Helena's father. He is a German special forces guy, I believe, and his style is basically just kneeing people. He's got a little knee move that's unblockable unless you know how to counter it. It's hilarious to just do that to somebody.
Spamming.
Yep. Because fighting games are the best.
I mean, if it's a working winning strategy, why not?
Yep, just like camping. It's legitimate. Is there really anything else that you need to touch on? Like, it's a very short movie. It goes by very fast, and it's just really, it's fun. That's all it is. It's not good. It's just fun.
True. Yeah, no, really, that's all I put, other than like that thing about the katana's not cutting, yet they're having a fight in the bamboo forest and chopping down bamboo left and right, but no effects on the skin.
More than anything else, I feel like it tried to fit almost too many characters into it, which they did a fairly good job of having like people like me that have played the games being like, I know that guy, I know that character, without making people like you spend too much time trying to figure them out. But even then, I think they had a little too much going on.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do though? You know, would you think it was better Mortal Kombat?
I mean, one, because I think the cyber robots in Mortal Kombat are badass. I have to put that.
That's the second one,
step
right?
up. Yeah.
Annihilation,
which was just as garbage as the first one. You know,
some good one-liners though.
I just like the dark overtones. This one's like the happy version of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, the happy-go-lucky for sure.
The PG version of the rated R.
I've got nothing else really. We touched on everything I have in my notes. I guess we'll head to the end here. That final combo. What was your favorite scene?
My favorite scene was more of it's not a scene but a line when the lady breaks into, I think, Katsune's room, and Hayabusa is waiting outside of Katsune's room, and the one line she says, "Why do you invade my privacy this way?"
That's what I'm talking about. It's
What?
such a weird way to say that.
Like, who the fuck talks like that?
Easily, sorry, first of all, you're wrong. Easily the best scene was Leon coming in to do the fight going, like,
Cocking his gun.
worth the price of admission just for that. And then later when they call back to it, when why can I not remember her name? Presley does that kick on Zach's head and it just gun blast. What was your what the fuck moment?
I don't even think I really necessarily had one. I mean, the inevitable volleyball scene, but I wasn't necessarily expecting it, but it just kind of happened. And then I suppose maybe when the shuriken comes in and pops the volleyball and she's like, I gotta go. And we're just like, okay, bye.
Say, mine is Mine is at the end, which you talked about earlier, when she's just like, all right, I don't want to kill you no more. It's just, then it shows them at the temple. I'm like, what the fuck happened here? I thought you had like a blood debt you had to
You're a
fulfill.
shinobi.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Finally, your MVP.
My MVP. I would have to say probably Jamie Presley's character. Mm-hmm. Just because, like, she didn't seem to take it all too seriously. Even though everybody else seemed to be really gung-ho about it, she was just like, oh, hey, oh, great, there's my dad. Oh, how embarrassing. But I don't know, she still kind of, she played along with it, I suppose.
Yeah, and it was kind of obvious that she was one of the more, I don't know if I'd say skilled, but experienced actors and actresses on the movie. Everything she said just kind of seemed really natural. The way she said it. It didn't seem like she was playing a character. She just was that character.
I think it is weird, though, out of all the choices of characters this movie could have hired, they picked her to play a fighter. Mm-hmm. I never would see her as necessarily being a fighter. I mean, I guess the same with Mila Jovovich. And
Can we talk about how thick she was, though? Like, she got into shape for that movie hard. She had some thighs on her.
I don't know how much of a stunt actor she is, but I wonder if she did any of the stunts.
There was a lot of camera shots that looked like they weren't hiding that face.
Yeah. So,
my MVP, and this was a really tough one for me, honestly. I had a myriad of choices. Could have been the sound effects guy.
Oh.
Could have been Leon's guns. But I think I have to go with Kevin Nash.
Yep.
I have to get to my boy. Every time he's on the movie, those two's chemistry was fantastic. I would actually watch a movie of those two, like, pre this movie. I mean, it's too late now. They're both too old, but although it could be like The Wrestler, where they're getting back into the squared circle one last time. Those two tag teaming it up, because every interaction they had was hilarious, even if it was kind of weird.
The bedroom scene was my favorite.
And then later when they have the fight on the boat and Katsumi is giving her a shoulder rub, he's like, oh, does Christy know about you two? And he's not like being weird about it. He's just playing the concerned dad. He's like, I don't want to overstep my bounds.
Busted into the room ready to beat her ass, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry. Let's do this tomorrow.
And then when they fight, he doesn't want to hurt her. He's still just joking around, and so he's like, hey, first one that falls in the water loses, babe. He was so good. He is underrated. Every movie I've ever seen him in, he does a good job.
I don't think I've seen him in any other movies.
He's in The Punisher. Plays the big Russian dude with the Where's Waldo striped shirt on.
Maybe if I saw it again, it's been a while.
Beats the shit out of him. He's in The Longest Yard.
Nope.
Fantastic. They slip him estrogen pills, and so he's a prison guard. And it's a movie with Adam Sandler, and a bunch of wrestlers are in it, like Goldberg and Stone Cold and him. Great colleague. He's he's standing there, and he's just like, and they're like, what the hell's wrong with you? He's like, I don't know. My nipples are killing me. I'm so moody lately. It's this big 7-foot tall burly dude. It's one of those movies that it's like it's low hanging fruit and lowbrow humor, but I'm just like, it gets me. It gets me sometimes. And I suppose that was it. That was DOA. Much more enjoyable than Blood Rain.
I would agree.
I will be watching this movie again at some point in my life for sure. And it's just every couple years I remember it exists and I have to go back and watch it.
Just stick it on a thumb drive, carry it on your keys.
Yep. I'm hoping to eventually drink away the memory of Blood Rain.
Slowly but surely, killing brain cells.
So that has wrapped up this double-digit episode of the Dudes Watch a Movie podcast. We should be seeing you next month, where we are going to be going on a Christmas binge. Have you selected your movie yet?
No.
No? I know mine, and I'm very excited. Thank you for watching. If you're still there, I have been the Notorious GING.
And I am the same as always, DeadSprock3t.
Thanks.
See you.